Hello, Living Waters. Welcome back. We're continuing our theme this week of God, or the people of God, believing in someone and it changing their life. I didn't realize this. I always try to find books we haven't used yet, but I think this week we're actually all five are books we had not used yet, which means it brings our total down to, hold on, drum roll, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books left that we have not used in Coffee with Pastor Zach. And only one in the New Testament. Feel free to comment with your guess on that one, which one we hadn't touched yet in the New Testament. Hint, it's near the end. All right. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Another one I'm surprised we had not used 2 Thessalonians. It's shorter than 1 Thessalonians, no doubt. And it is one topic. The 1 Thessalonians was probably Paul's first letter, we think. It's a church he had a good relationship with. It just kind of, maybe not, kind of like his first call, if you will. And this is the follow-up to his first big hit, you know? He had the big mega hit, 1 Thessalonians, and they demanded a sequel. Specifically, the sequel had to cover death and the afterlife. Like, how's this whole thing going to work, Paul? You know, you explained a lot of good stuff. You know, Jesus, God, all that kind of. But okay, when you're talking about like heaven and the return of Christ, like, what are you getting at here? What happens when we die? When will we die? Will we die? Right? These are the kind of questions we're asking. And so in this chapter 2, I kind of see Paul's lived theology. He has this section which my translation calls the man of lawlessness. Right, so if you remember our Lutheran way of looking at things, law and gospel, the first stuff through verse 12 is very law heavy, and then 13 through 17 is gospel heavy, the chosen for salvation. And so you have lawlessness and salvation. You have law and gospel. You have sin and death, and new life and grace. Remember Paul's story. I know we've used this in Coffee with Pastor Zach. Think of Paul's story as told in Acts, right? He was, I think, and he would describe, a man of lawlessness. I'm talking about exalting himself before God in this passage. Paul thought he was pretty great. And I mean, even after the conversion, he still thought pretty highly of himself, which, to be fair, he was brilliant. But yeah, he, like I said, he was like the Darth Vader. He was hunting down Christians, killing people of the faith. Like I said, reigned in this life of sin and death. Okay, or a murder, genocidal murder, really. He's a bad dude, and he literally gets knocked on his butt. You can use whatever translation of that you want, and his life's changed. He is transformed by a God not of vengeance, but of grace and new life. He got that wake-up call, but he's healed. He's put back on his feet. He's able to get back into this new life that he has found in Christ. And so I see that reflected in the 2 Thessalonians. They're asking him about death. What does it mean? And Paul's like, well, first let me tell you about life. Let me tell you about our time here on earth that matters. And then we'll finish off about death. Well, actually, he kind of started about death. Then he went back to life and death. He likes the narrative sandwich. And so, yes, Paul wants to make clear, when I say that Jesus saves, that we are chosen for salvation, he talks about the purpose of truth, the purpose through the proclamation of the good news. These are quotes from him. The holding fast to what has been taught to us, they matter, even in the face of death, because of what God has done for us in this life. God took our ways of lawlessness and transformed us. God believed in us. God gave us new life, both in this life and the next. And that matters. This life matters too. Not just death and the life after. Whew. All right. One more. And we're going to hear from the Apostle Paul yet again tomorrow.